Welcome back to another Absynth tutorial. Today we're going to be taking a look at how we can design a sound similar to this sci-fi sound effect that I have going here. Now, of course, this can be used in cinematic and gaming type projects, but it can also be used in modern electronic music very easily. Um, so let's jump right into this and see how we get it going. Go ahead and open up an instance of Absynth 5 and start with just a plain basic sound here. Set oscillator module A to run in frequency modulation mode. Go ahead and load up in organ 4 to get this sound. And we're going to go ahead and modulate the main pitch of this oscillator with an LFO, and that means that we need to set up some boundaries for it to work inside of. So let's just go ahead and set this up probably around 60 steps down or so. And we're going to run this through a low pass 4 filter. And again, we're going to modulate the frequency here with an LFO. So we need to set up some boundaries here. We'll set it fairly high. So this is what our sound is like right now. And without the filter, you can hear that it's basically the same sound. You really can't hear a big difference. Again, we just wanted to set kind of the boundaries here for this. Let's go ahead and jump into the LFO really quick. LFO panel, just click up here. And we're only going to use the one oscillator here in this tutorial. So I'm always just a big fan of clicking off the things that you don't really need. It doesn't really make too much of a difference in the long run, honestly. So we're going to modulate our main pitch, and we're going to set this to a value of 100%. Okay, so that way it's going to be modulating between the entire range of frequencies of 0 down to -60. Okay, but it's going to happen pretty quick. We're going to change this from 1 second, we're going to change this to about half a beat. Okay, so it's a little bit quicker. And now we should take advantage of the ability to just set up what our same oscillator is also going to modulate. And again, this is going to be the filter and the frequency. So when we look here, this is the filter frequency, which is correct. We don't want to set it up as high as the main pitch, because if we do, let's go ahead and set this up at 100 so you can hear it. We're not here to make a wobble, right? We're here to make a nice sci-fi sound effect. So let's drop this back just a little bit. Maybe somewhere in this neighborhood. Okay. Let's jump back into our patch. We're also going to add a Ringmod to this. Okay. Again, we're going to have to set up some parameters here or some highs and lows here, some limits, because this too is going to be modulated by an LFO eventually, but it's going to happen through an envelope. So let's go ahead and create new envelope here. And we're only dealing with oscillator A. Right now, Absynth knows that. It goes ahead and opens up this view, just showing us these two. I'm going to zoom out on the scale just a little bit here, give us some room to work. So this is the main amp, so for oscillator A. So this is basically your volume control of how your sound is going to be introduced, how it's actually going to develop over time, and then how it's going to resolve once your note is no longer sustained. So right now, this is our sound. Okay, so you can see how it'll kind of pause there for a second, or as long as you sustain your note. As soon as you release it, it's going to go and start its release phase. Now let's go ahead and set up our pitch. Maybe we'll want to hold our sound just a little bit here at first. Drop this down to kind of hold right around the same spot as our amplification modulation, and then we're going to actually make this go back up. But again, I want it to match the main time, the duration that this is all happening in with the amp. So that way it's going to be very consistent across both modulations. Okay, so now we're just going to click up here and we're going to add an LFO. Oh, and before we do that, you can hear the sound again here. Pretty cool, huh? And you'll notice this little sample and hold effect that it has down here where we're holding it, where the note is truly sustained. So that can actually become a very useful little bit of this sound. Let's go ahead and add an LFO to this envelope. And what that's going to do is modulate within this range right here. And you can see very easily just with the visual aid here of exactly what that means for the sound. Okay. And again, it's just going to hold there as long as we sustain the note. And while it's sustained, you can use this little purple line here to match these up very closely. So that way you get the most consistent possible delivery of sound. So, okay, let's go ahead and do similar with this one. We're probably going to have to tweak the parameters just slightly here. So let's take a look at what we have to do. Maybe we'll try this here. Now let's drop this down quite a bit and see what we can get as far as a slightly more funky feel. You know, this is kind of a retro future kind of a sound, and that usually means kind of an exaggerated curve. That's better. It kind of speeds up down into the sample and hold, and then we release, and it builds up and resolves. That's really nice, and it fades out too. At the same time as it keeps building, you know, this fades out, so that's very nice. And we may just want to touch, just bump that amp just past the final release point of the pitch modulation, so that way we hear the end of the fade out rather. So okay, so our sound right now is pretty much complete, but we still have an opportunity to add an effect here. So let's add an effect. I'm going to go ahead and use this resonator probably. Okay, that's a bit much. We're going to back this off a bit. Okay, we don't want it to lose the dry signal entirely. And let's cut the feedback in half, let's say, and see what it sounds like. All right, now that is very cool. That's a very cool sound. If you want to try and spread this out a bit, definitely can. Maybe rotate this at a much lower rate here. Not that slow. Just to get a little movement. Let's see what this sounds like here. Yeah, I think we have a winner. So here's your sound. If you have any questions, feel free to hit us up in our forums. You find the link below. And thanks, as always, for checking out the tutorials. Cheers.